Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtatarashata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Param Gurudev ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatarashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gorkishwaras Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Shri Rupa Anugauriya Guru Varga ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Bhattadas Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala, Gora Mandala, Vraja Mandala, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki Jai, Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Shri Kartik Vrat, Damodar Vrat, Urja Vrat ki Jai, Jai Urjeshwari Shri Vishabhanu Nandini Shrimati Radha Thakurani ki Jai Jai Shri Yashoda Damodar ki Jai Radha Damodar ki Jai Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Hari Bo Dandavat Pranams Satya Mataji and Yashoda Didi Haribo, and Govinda Saha and Vrinda Didi. And I see there are 2 other people watching on YouTube and Facebook. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. Okay, so we are continuing on with our reading of Kṛti-ratna, and I think today will be our last reading from Kṛti-ratna, and tomorrow we'll begin Damodarashtakam. So, yeah, okay. So let me share my screen. Yesterday we had a really nice festival here for in this little place here. It was just me and Subal Saka Brahmachari, and he did all the cooking for everybody. We served prasad to 35 people, and we went to the Ganga. We did Nagar Sankirtan down to the Ganga and did Sankalpa, and then came back, did Kirtan for an hour, and then had glorifications of my Param Gurudev Śrīla Bhakti Keśava Gosvāmī Maharaj for maybe an hour, 15 minutes. And then we had Arti to him, and then Prasad. And actually I didn't take all that down yet, but that was from the Pushpanjali that we did. Oh, Hare Krishna, Sachinandan Prabhu. I was wondering what your name was. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen and we will begin. Okay, so yesterday we read, one second, I'm getting a bunch of messages just seeing if it's related to this. No, it's not. Okay. So yesterday we read, what did we read? Oh yeah, we read Srila Prabhupada's condolence speech and the letter that he wrote on Srila Bhakti Keśava Gosvāmī Maharaj's disappearance. And also we read, like on the, what was it? After the first inaugural issue of Gaudiya Patrika, Srila Prabhupada wrote a really nice appreciation of it. And he also expressed his separation from Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu, whom he said he has the pain that he feels from Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu is no less than the pain that he feels from Srila Prabhupada. That's it, right? He wrote, and it was published in the Gaudiya Patrika. So, Hari Bol Nari Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Dandavat pranams. Hari Bol. So, one second. Where are we? And then we read glorifications from different godbrothers. We read from Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, from Srila Bhakti Kumod Santa Goswami Maharaj, and from, who else? Bhakti Sambandha Turiya Swami Maharaj. There's also a beautiful poem written by by Param Gurudev's aunt. Her name's Saroja Vasani Devi, also his godsister. It is 270 verses long, and yeah, it's very long. It's like, it's longer than like the Chaitanya Bhagavat chapters that we've been reading, and it's so beautiful, so heartfelt. I sent it out on the Gaudiya Kirtan mailing list, and you can also find it on vineofdevotion.com if you'd like to read it. I'm not going to go through it now, even though I wanted to, but I think it's good if we just get along with our Damodarashtakam program. So and I wanted to read, you know what, let's read parts of it. We don't need to read the whole thing. I'll do that. That's what we'll start with. Okay. So this is, oops, scroll down a little bit. Here. A glimpse of his early life and pilgrimages by Srimati Saroja Vasani Devi. Okay. Following Srila Bhakti Siddhanta oh, and by the way, I'm reading from this book called Kṛti-ratna, A Jewel Among Guru-sevakas, published by Reza the Harmonist Team, is translated by Reza the Harmonist Team, and published by Gaudiya Vedanta Publications. Okay. Following Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada's disappearance, his dear disciple and companion, Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Goswami Mahārāja, found new and innovative ways to carry on his Guru's mission. For several years after establishing Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti in 1941, he took huge groups of devotees on pilgrimage of numerous holy sites across India every year during the month of Kartik, often booking the whole train compartments. He thus preached the message of Lord Chaitanya, providing countless souls the opportunity to hear and chant in the company of devotees, and thoroughly cultivates the limb of devotion known as Pada Sevanam, which can either mean to serve the Lord's lotus feet, or to utilize one's feet in the Lord's service by doing parikrama. I think this is written by Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj. Yeah. Okay. Accompanying Srila Acharya Dev on many of these pilgrimages was his aunt, the esteemed Sri Yukta Saroja Vasani Devi. Yeah, so she's one of the first disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, female disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And she wrote lots of poems, actually. She wrote 2 about Narahari Seva Vigraha Prabhu. So, in 1949, she submitted an unprecedented chronicle of those extraordinary preaching tours to Sri Sajan Sevak Brahmachari, who is Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, who was editor of the Sri Gaudiya Patrika at the time. He writes this part. I got that wrong. Okay. The Venerable Sri Saroja Vasani Devi, whose writings reveal her supreme devotion, is the first and most distinguished of Srila Prabhupada's female disciples. About 6 months ago, she sent me a lengthy lyrical composition about Pujapad Acharya Dev, requesting that I publish it. But Pujapad Acharya Dev firmly objected. No way. Which is why its publication was not immediate. Owing to the respected author's determined insistence and repeated requests, I am compelled to publish this work, even though publishing anything in praise of Pujapad Acharya Dev goes against his wishes. As the author, so he's doing this against Param Gurudev's wishes, disobeying him, because she won her insistence prevailed. Okay. As the author is revered and worshipped by Vaishnavas in all the ashrams of the renowned Sri Gaudiya Mats, it is quite impossible for me to deny her order and requests. Srila Thakur Bhaktivinod's publishing of his autobiography did not diminish his glory in the slightest. It truly benefited the world. I wonder if he wrote that last sentence, those last two sentences for Param Gurudev. Anyways, I don't know. This piece first appeared in 1950 in Sri Gaudiya Patrika, Year 2, Issues 3 to 6. Part 1. The Extraordinary Qualities of a Vaishnava. So this is all in the same meter as Gauranga Bolite Habe, or Hari Haraya Nama Krishna, or Chaitanya Charitamrita verses, Poyar. So yeah, it's possible to sing like that. But maybe I'm just going to, I would like to sing it, but I also want to get through a lot of reading today. So I'm going to just read the translations for some of the verses, not everything. Let's go through part 1. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. The sacred body of a Vaishnava is host to all extraordinary virtues, as Sri Krishna's devotees are infused with all of his own qualities. I hereby declare the glories of Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava, whom I know to be the glowing embodiment of such qualities. Your infinite virtues forever awaken in my mind. I do not see such characteristics in ordinary souls. All the servants of Sri Guru are repositories of extraordinary qualities. But subtle consideration, O brother, reveals unique differences. They have their Vaishishtas. Dharma has been your life and soul since you were a child. Sinful and ignorant as I am, I could not comprehend this fact, even though I witnessed it. As a small boy, you sought day and night to serve those who were in distress, had lost their way, or were without friends. You founded an association called Sri Dharma Rakshani Sabha, an assembly to defend religious principles, and taught your childhood peers that Dharma alone is the essence of life. We hear the story of when he was just a child, his mother, what was it? Oh God, it's been such a long time since I've heard it. But his mother, he came back home late one day without any explanation, and his mother was standing at the door with a stick in hand, and she was ready to like beat him or chastise him, and then she said, "Why were you so late? Why, like, what's going on?" And then he explains that that somebody was sick with, what is it, Satyamataji, cholera, right? Cholera? Yeah, cholera. And I think it was that, or maybe another disease, I can't remember. And that he and his friends had been saving up their money to be able to get treatment for this person. And he was busy engaged in taking care of the needs of this person. And so that's why he was late. And then immediately the stick fell from his mother's hands, and she started weeping. And she said, "I'll never chastise you ever again," like that. I might be getting the story a little bit wrong, but it was something like that. But yeah, he and his friends, they started a little thing together. I guess it's called the Dharma Rakshani Sabha. Maybe it was that one, or maybe they had another one also, where they would all together, these little kids would get their money together and help the needy and like that. So that was from the very childhood. He had this kind of compassion for jivas. How often you would go to school, meet a blind beggar or someone else in distress, and give them the shawl and other clothes you were wearing. Your compassion for people suffering from despair and poverty was limitless. I witnessed this myself, unlucky fallen person that I am. From birth, you represented the glowing ideal of renunciation. There was never a time you showed any zeal for satisfying your tongue and stomach. Rather, being so pained on seeing others in distress, you would even neglect to eat, as being of service to them was the only thing that mattered, and you did this with single-minded focus. Calm and gentle of heart. I was just thinking it would be a really nice thing to make a children's book series with the childhood stories of our acharyas. Wouldn't that be like a nice way like for children to relate in a really personal way to different acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Param Gurudev? We could have the stories of him taking care of the like that, and we read these beautiful stories about Srila Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja and Srila Bhakti Santa Gosvāmī Mahārāja as children. Anyways, just came to calm and gentle of heart calm and gentle of heart and magnanimous of character. You went from place to place seeking the highest welfare for all. You have been a refuge for the orphaned. You have been a refuge for the orphaned ever since your childhood. Remembering all of this, I offer my obeisances to you always. I cannot even hope to touch your limitless qualities, being so fallen, wretched, and totally degenerate. In the eyes of the world, I am your parental aunt, but you used to refer to me as your big sister when you were very little, because our bond as godbrother and godsister is an inseparable one, a relationship you are evidently aware of since your very birth. Isn't that interesting? He used to call his aunt his Didi, his older sister, from childhood. Your life will never involve becoming entangled in mundane family life. By nature, you are always indifferent to worldly interests, having surpassed the delusions of Maya. Seeing your childhood play, everyone said as much. But as my mind was bewildered by Maya, I never understood this, even though I, foolish, pitiful person that I am, had witnessed your renunciation since your childhood. You are my best friend in this world, as you showed to this wretch a guru who is a jewel of all good qualities. That guru is second to none, and a great, great personality, who, like Sri Nityananda Prabhu, is the savior of the fallen. Saintly persons proclaim him to be the avatar of Sri Gaurahari's teachings, and it was due to your mercy that I met such a master. He is the friend of the fallen, an ocean of compassion. Who even has the power to describe a single particle of his mercy? Who was it? I think it was Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, or maybe Srila Bhakti Kumud Santa Goswami Maharaj, who was saying that it's not possible to glorify Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Goswami Maharaj without glorifying Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, because he was so completely, that was his identity, his everything. So you had to glorify Srila Bhakti, otherwise you wouldn't be glorifying Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Goswami Maharaj fully. Hare Krishna Shubhananta Prabhu. I am a deviant and a wretch, a disgrace to humanity. I am inferior even to the various species of animals, as my behavior is worse than theirs. There is no sin that I have not committed in this birth. Day and night, I am repeatedly guilty of every possible offense. There is none so despicable in this world, no greater sinner or degenerate in all of material existence. Our Prabhu saw me and knew I was the ideal candidate for his compassion. The mercy he showed me was simply causeless. I can say for certain that I received the mercy of our Guru because of your mercy. Therefore, again and again, I clasp my hands and offer millions and millions of obeisances unto your feet. Shubhananta Prabhu, in case you missed the beginning part, we're reading a poem written by Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Goswami Maharaj's aunt. You are so simple-hearted, the epitome of sincerity. Pretense finds no abode in you. Hence, I worship you time and time again. Since your birth, You have been indifferent to wealth and extremely detached. Never have you adored money. Such a person alone deserves to be called renounced. I pray that I always remember your lotus feet. I heard of being more tolerant than a tree, and by the strength of Sri Guru's mercy, I saw that such a quality truly exists. When I think of your tolerance and compassion, it strikes my heart with great wonder. Your heart is offered to Sri Krishna, and thus remains far from illusion and ignorance. You are always immersed in the ecstasy of service, and you always speak sweetly. As you are self-satisfied, your countenance is supremely happy. I have never seen you unhappy for even a moment, and beholding you rouses sheer delight in the heart. All glories to Sri Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava, I do declare. Oops, sorry, 1 second. You are not even slightly irked by incessant criticisms. I noted this a long time ago. You are never displeased with anyone. You are never provoked, even when people try to find a way to anger you. You have conquered the 6 urges. You are decorated with the 6 virtues, and you have relinquished the 6 faults. You are a supremely virtuous and noble person. You never engage in slander and gossip, or other such contemptible activities. Day and night, you embody silent absorption in thoughts of Sri Krishna. Aharanisha Krishna Chinta Mona Murti Dharo. You are particularly illustrious, an exceptional personality. Day and night, you are totally immersed in the ecstasy of service. Clutching only the instructions of your spiritual master to your head, you have continuously preached his teachings throughout the world. Kartik is foremost of the 4 holy months of Chaturmasya, and people obtain one-pointed devotion by observing Sri Urja Vrat. You make it a rule to always follow the vows of that period, and in the company of the devotees, you observe Niyam Seva. During that time, you gracefully tour Bhagavan's divine abodes and many holy sites, performing pilgrimage in saintly company. With you roam countless great and exalted personalities, servants of your spiritual master, and bona fide representatives of the Lord, all of whom are saviors of fallen souls. On the order of your spiritual master, you preach the teachings of Sri Chaitanya, hearing which the souls of this world achieve deliverance. That sound, Sri Chaitanya's message, is the nectar of immortality and brings the dead back to life, even though death is always imminent. May my wretched mind incessantly venerate Sri Gurupad Padma and his devotees. The devotees of Sri Gaur Hari are dedicated to helping upakar, others, para upakar, and they are always thinking exclusively of what is beneficial for them. Para upakar. Para can also mean superior. The poet therefore says, the devotees do not offer trivial handouts, but a superior form of altruism, which enables conditioned souls to attain the service of Guru and Krishna. Out of overwhelming compassion, the merciful Mahaprabhu sincerely addressed his associates as follows. Mahaprabhu said, one who has taken human birth in the land of India should give meaning to his life by working for the welfare of others. Since Sri Keśava is the paragon of this instruction, I worship his lotus feet by body, mind, and words. So that was part 1 of this series of poems. And then there's part 2, 5 years of pilgrimage. She goes through 5 years of different pilgrimages that he would do during Kartik time. Tells all the details, all the different things that occurred, and his Hari Katha and like that. Anyways, so this is 270 verses. We're going to skip this all now and move on to articles by his followers, by Śrīla Bhakti-vedanta Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja's disciples. What time is it? It's 7:28. I wonder how much time we have to read. Let's see. I wonder if I should. Okay, I'm just moving down a little bit. Let's see. Okay, words of tribute from disciples of Śrīmad Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. This is a long article, I think. Yeah, it's pretty long. Oh my god, it's very long. I don't think we have time to read this. So I'm going to move on. Maybe let's just, because we should have some of Śrīla Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja's glorification. So I'm just going to read a few little parts of it. Okay, the transcendental character of Sri Guru Padma by Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja. When Paramaradhyatama Śrīla Keśava Gosvāmī Pad was commenting on Vairagya Yukta Bhakti Ras imbued with renunciation, from Śrīla Raghunath Das Goswami's Vilap Kusmanjali, text 6, he explains that another name for renunciation, Vairagya, is Krishnendriya Pritivancha Maya Vipralamba. Krishnendriya Pritivancha Moy Vipralamba. The intense feeling of separation from Krishna that consists of the desire to please his senses. Vairagya that trivializes Brahma Gyan, knowledge of the impersonal aspect of Bhagavan, and inspires contempt, fear, and disregard for Sayujya Mukti and other forms of liberation, is enlightened renunciation, since it consists solely of the desire to give happiness to Sri Krishna. For spiritual practitioners, Vairagya means the renunciation of all enjoyment for the pleasure of Krishna. But for liberated personalities, so that's for sadhaks. But for those who've already siddhas, liberated personalities, Vairagya means devotion to Krishna's service. Yeah, it means Vaishishta Rupena Rag, special attachment, instead of, Śrīla Raghunath Das Goswami has pointed out that Vairagya Yukta Bhakti Ras, or renunciation and devotion, entails abstention from mundane action that is characterized by detachment, knowledge, and devotional engagement. The Mayavad conception of renunciation, which excludes the existence of transcendental delights, can never be called actual Vairagya. Interesting point, huh? When used to describe a specific quality of Bhagavan, who is endowed with the 6 opulences of divinity, the word Vairagya refers to his natural position, as he is Mayadish, the lord of the illusory energy. Bhakti can never be obtained by artificially practicing renunciation while performing solitary meditation, Nirjan Bhajan. Nor is the renunciation of those souls who hanker for liberation ever a cause of the attainment of pure devotion. Those who are not well versed in spiritual truth think that Vairagya means gross renunciation. But we find in the Shastras that Vairagya is actually the most exalted state of longing for Krishna's loving pastimes. The renunciation of Prakrit Sahajas, those who superimpose mundane sentiment onto transcendental matters, and those who abstain from material pleasure, is a fickle and deceitful means of satisfying their underlying desires. Only through the eyes of bhakti can one see or realize the eternally perfect renunciation of the eternally perfect Mahatmas, the focus of which is Sri Krishna's happiness. Detachment and omniscience are naturally evident in the lives of exalted personalities. They know who is simply engrossed in satiating the senses in the name of serving Hari. and as omniscient witnesses, They give sincere practitioners the chance to escape the clutches of such hypocrisy. And when they see people who are inclined to be of service, they offer them encouragement, thereby showing what it means to care for and protect those who truly wish to serve. Keśariva swapottanam anyesham ugravikrama. The lioness nurtures her offspring tenderly, but is ferocious to her enemy. This verse was composed by Sri Gosvāmī in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 791 in relation to Nrsingadev. Similarly, to the atheists and hypocrites, Srila Gurupad Padma was the punisher, like death personified. But he was full of loving parental affection for his disciples and those who had taken shelter of him. He would rectify their hundreds of faults and mistakes and give them the chance to serve and remain engaged in Hari Bhajan. He would provide anyone who came to his mat or missions for Hari Bhajan, even if they were aged, ill, or devoid of any worldly qualifications. He would provide them with shelter and opportunity to perform Hari Bhajan. Yesterday I went to Devananda Gaudiya Math last night, and there's an old sannyasi there who is a disciple of Param Gurudev. He's actually Param Gurudev's cook, and he joined the mat when he was very little, like before he was a teenager, I think even. And he told, there's actually lots of letters that my Gurudev wrote to him. His name was Ananda. Now his name is Shrama Mahārāja. So my Gurudev, he was telling me yesterday just different stories. I didn't fully understand everything that he said because he's old and I don't, like his speaking wasn't so clear, but he mentioned that like once there was a person who joined the mat who was very sick and like had serious health problems, was really old, and he would just be a burden on the mat. Like he was joining the mat and like he was going to be like everybody's going to need to take lots of care of him and bring him to the, and Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, I might be getting this wrong because this is just what I understood, but I didn't 100% understand everything. But Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj was telling him, like, better that you stay in maybe a hospice, or maybe you stay with some of your family members and they can take care of you, or something like that. And the person said, okay, yeah, you're right. And so then Param Gurudev, when he heard about this, that Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, he was like, no, he has to stay here. We will take all charge of everything for him. And another similar thing happened with that old sannyasi who was a boy with Param Gurudev. He got a high fever, and Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, I think it was Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, was going to arrange a separate place for him somewhere. And then Param Gurudev had him stay in his own room with him, the sick boy with the fever. And so he stayed in the same room as Param Gurudev. Yeah, and so that was just a couple examples I heard yesterday of that quality that we just heard from Srila Bhāman Goswami Maharaj. Okay. So he would provide anyone who came to his mat or missions for Hari Bhajan, even if they are aged, ill, or devoid of any worldly qualifications, with shelter and the opportunity to perform Hari Bhajan. This demonstrates beyond doubt his brilliant example of complete surrender to Sri Krishna, his mercy and magnanimity, his compassionate nature, his tendency to help all, and his sorrow upon seeing the suffering of others. I've seen many temples. I'm not going to mention what temples they are because I don't want to, but they don't. You're not allowed to join the temple unless you have a college degree. Oops, did I share? I didn't share. Yeah, unless you have a college degree, you're not allowed to join the temple. which would exclude pretty much everybody that's in any of the Gaudiya mats that I've been in. Like most everybody joined when they're younger. But Srila Param Gurudev, he didn't care if the person had no qualifications at all, he was completely useless, or any problems, he gave shelter to them. Politicians say, Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, ma bruyat, satyam at priyam. Speak the truth, and speak it in a pleasing manner. Do not utter unpalatable truth. Guru Padma, however, would loudly insist wherever he went that the right thing to do is to speak the truth no matter how unpleasant. He was Acharya Keshari, the lion-like Acharya. Doesn't matter how unpleasant it is, you must speak the truth. If we do not speak the truth, then the many secrets of scripture will not be revealed and broadcast in this world. Sadhu, Guru, and Vaishnavas want the real welfare of the people of the world, and even if their piercing words are not initially pleasing, they are nonetheless the cause of complete auspiciousness. In this connection, Venerable Srila Gurudev has written, nowadays, we see the publication of many religious magazines that are gradually deviating from the rules and regulations established and propagated by Acharya Keshari Jagadguru Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and that are headed down a different path. The main cause for this is a desire for worldly gain, name, and fame. We should always remember the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Dharma cannot be protected unless one is unbiased and detached. If maintaining complete impartiality entails facing even the gravest adversities, one should embrace them to set an example for the rest of the world. I think I mentioned yesterday, right? There's a series of articles called Achinta Bheda Bhed, which they're very, very intense, very strong, defending the conceptions of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada from the, Ananta Vasudeva and Sundarananda Vidya Vinod, and there's Haridas Das. Those two, Ananta Vasudeva and Sundarananda Vidya Vinod, were like the right and left hands of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his main helpers in his preaching activities and his writing, all the publishing and everything. They were the most intelligent, the most prominent. And then they went completely against Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and even like published a book like trying to defeat his main teachings and like that. So my Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Keśava Goswāmī, he wrote for, I think it's like 24 articles or something, over 2 years. Every month he would put an article fiercely opposed, cutting all the different things that they were saying. And Srivas has been translating that and posting those articles on bigdrum.us if anyone is interested in seeing any of them. The cutting words and criticisms uttered by saintly persons, Guru and Vaishnavas, bring about one's good fortune and remove the difficulties and obstacles related to bhajan. Their unbiased ethics, disciplinary assertions, and treatment of the blunt, bitter truth are like healing mantras that result in one's obtaining a taste for chanting Shri Nam. Srila Guru Mahārāja displayed unparalleled love and sympathy for his godbrothers. Many godbrothers came to visit him, and just from the way they addressed him affectionately as Vinoda, or Keśava Mahārāja, he could tell what their situation was and would help them as best he could, either financially or otherwise. Meanwhile, he personally never expected any financial assistance. He thus generously and selflessly gave thousands of rupees to help others. We can confidently say that he had great love for his godbrothers. Satirtha Vatsalya. All sorts of people come to see him. Scholars, those who prided themselves as being devotees, the ignorant, the clever, children, youths, and the elderly. But when they saw his gentle, calm appearance, heard his grave and authoritative verse, and beheld his slight smile and beautiful face, they would all forget their various motives and demands. Even when refuting impersonalist logicians, he never humiliated them, but always preserved their dignity. Okay, so even though he didn't matter how unpleasant the words would be, he never tried to humiliate, and he always preserved the dignity of whoever he was arguing with. Many people influenced by ulterior motives sought his advice on various matters, but they could not take to heart the true power of such a saintly personality who is so exclusively devoted to Sri Krishna. How can ordinary people grasp the transcendental behavior of eternally perfected great souls? Generally, people do not and cannot understand when a great soul is bestowing mercy and when he is deluding them. His view was, no one in this world is an object of my attachment or indifference. All are instrumental in serving Guru and Krishna. This is the transcendent perspective of a Mahabhagavat. Actually, there's a few articles where Śrīla Bhakti-Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja mentions this point, that people cannot understand when a great soul is bestowing mercy and when he is deluding them. And yeah, there's very powerful. That's the thing I love about my Param Gurudev's articles, is that they cut through any kind of duplicity, pretentiousness, any kind of BS that might be there. It's just like it's on a whole other level of like just really, yeah. There's no I can't explain it, but if you really want to try to be sincere in devotional practice, his words are some of the most helpful things I find for cutting out any kind of false anything. As mentioned previously, Srila Guru Mahāraja's novelty and speciality were evident from the execution of his every act. On either side of Narahari Toran, the main gate of Sri Devananda of Sri Gaurivaranta Samiti's main preaching center, Sri Devananda Gaudiya Math in Navadvip, and also in Mathura Keshavji Gaudiya Math. I've seen it in different places. He placed sculptures he had fashioned of a lion subduing a rogue elephant, which symbolizes the destruction of atheism, Pashanda Gajaika Singha, thus praising Sri Chaitanya Chandra, the enemy of Mura, in the tradition of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Yeah, it's a pretty shocking, actually pretty shocking, anyways. It's a tiger biting the leg, like the, what do you call the leg, whatever, of an elephant, and there's like blood coming, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? But that's what it is. It's Pashanda Gajaika Singha. The destruction of atheism. Sri Gurudev's close godbrother, Srila Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Mahārāja, awarded him with that same title, Pashanda Gajaika Singha, and would address him as such. It was as if he were always ready, sword in hand, to defeat Mayavadis and other opponents of Shuddha Bhakti. Yeah, he wrote a groundbreaking book. It's called Mayavadi Ki Jivani, or it's also called Vaishnav Vijay, explaining the history of Mayavadism and completely destroying it, showing how it's actually a covered form of Buddhism. And he gives all sorts of history that people never heard. He did lots of research and found things, very groundbreaking things on this topic. Regarding such entities as his eternal enemies, he made an unshakable vow to uproot Sri Shankar's Advaitavad or Mayavad from this world. He clearly expressed this determination in his letters, essays, articles, commentaries, explanations, statements, and lectures. The revered Srila Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Mahārāja would say to Srila Gurupad Padma, "When I see you, I am reminded of Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Anyone whose darshan makes the memory of Srila Gurudev appear in the mind of... Anyone whose darshan makes the memory of Srila Gurudev appear in the mind is Guru Swarup, the embodiment of Guru, and the greatest of all Mahabhagavats." One thing you'll notice in all these glorifications of Śrīla Bhakti-Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja by his godbrothers, by his disciples, like that, is that they don't really talk about themselves so much, or like at all sometimes in their offerings. But their glorification is solely to glorify the personalities. Lots of times when people will glorify on different appearance days and disappearance days, they'll just tell their whole life story and all, like it's all about them. But we see the ideal example of how to glorify the Acharya is by only trying to bring out his topmost glories, not trying to show how close you were, or how you, or any kind of thing like that. Not glorify yourself, only to glorify the Acharya. It is said that of Krishna's quality, it is said that of all of Krishna's quality, let me read that. It is said that all of Krishna's qualities appear in his devotees. Srila Acharya Dev had not passed exams in law or engineering, but he would give legal advice to lawyers and barristers, and he would also advise engineers. Many expert engineers were amazed to learn that the tilak-marked sky-high temple of the main mutt was constructed according to Srila Guru Mahāraja's instructions and design. Jagadguru Srila Saraswati Thakur had said, "Protecting service to Srimati Radharani is essential to protecting our sacred lineage." Protecting service to Srimati Radharani is essential to protecting our sacred lineage. By service to Srimati Radharani, he was referring to protecting mutts and temples from the clutches of sense enjoyers and wicked persons by means of litigation in the courts of law. Srila Gurupad Padma followed the instructions of his most worshipable Srila Prabhupada and accepted the responsibility of protecting the mission by legal means. He always had many court cases lodged against him, but he would always win all of them. There's only 2 that he didn't. That's a whole other story though. But even Prabhupada was amazed by his astonishing talent and power of memory. Once during an argument with some lawyers, Srila Guru Maharaja's godbrother, Srila Madhav Maharaj, asked him, "When did you study law so well that you can fight with lawyers and persuade them to accept your point of view?" He wouldn't have lawyers, he would be the lawyer himself. He didn't need anybody to represent him. Yeah, and Srila Bhakti-Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, in his glorification of Srila Param Gurudev, he tells 2 stories in which court cases that he was also directly involved with. He was like the secretary or whatever, writing everything down, keeping notes and all that. So there are 2 court cases, one that he made against his own brother, Odolomi Maharaj, who, and anyways, that's a whole long story, but he lost that court case, but actually he won it because, anyways, why am I telling that? That's a whole long story. So you can, but if you want to hear that more about that, you can see Srila Bharati Maharaj's glorification. His literary contributions and novel ways of explaining philosophical truths are unparalleled. Yes, Satya Mataji? One second. The vehicle's just going by, and for some reason my volume's really low. Can you say it one more time?
All kinds of other noise going on.
Yeah. Oh wait, I should turn on noise suppression. That's what I'll do. Okay. One second. Let me just stop. One second. Okay, now it's on. Noise suppression. Cool. No problem. Thanks for mentioning, actually. Okay, wait, I need to share my screen. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the chats. Now I'm just seeing them here. I'm going to put them on the screen so I have it. I can see it. Okay. Okay, so his literary contributions and novel ways of explaining philosophical truths are unparalleled. The ingenuity of his writing is forever solidified by the fact that he could maintain the innate mood and current of the key philosophical truths he addressed without succumbing to cliché. He regarded protection of the sampradaya, or disciplic succession, to be the topmost service to Sriman Mahaprabhu, and only after careful contemplation did he take up his formidable pen. His main goal was to establish Tattva Siddhanta, are conclusive philosophical truths, and he did so directly and indirectly through the medium of debate, exhibiting stunning, otherworldly creativity. His songs, such as Srila Prabhupada Arati, Sri Tulsi Arati, and Mangal Arati, highlight his innovative genius. In regard to the Mangal Arati song, I think I remember hearing that actually Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Mahārāja of Sri Chaitanya Mat took the Arti song, and that's what they sing there in like the official samadhi of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And I think he put his own name there or something like that. but like that's the official Arti song for Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. Oops, one second. I could be getting that wrong, so wait, don't quote me on that. His songs, such as Srila Prabhupada Arati, Sri Tulsi Arati, Mangal Arati, and Mangal Arati, highlights his innovative genius. In the wake of the divine poet Sri Jayadev and his Geet Govinda poem, Srila Guru Mahārāja and his Mangal Arati song hints at the unparalleled, sweet, and intimate transcendental pastimes of the eternally youthful divine couple of Vraj. That Mangal Arati song is so beautiful. My Gurudev wrote a whole commentary on it. And it's very, it's very mysterious, actually. It's very beautiful. Sometimes guests would arrive unexpectedly when Srila Gurupad Padma was dictating an article for Sri Patrika. But even after conversing with them at length about various topics, he would not lose track of the main subject of the article, nor experience any loss of interest in the task. Surely, this too was one of his supramundane specialities. Yeah, my Gurudev said that he would, during Navadvip Parikrama time, there'd be, or Gaur Purnima day, there'd be so much commotion going on, people going to see him, and like he'd be dealing with so much. And every gap, he would say something to Srila Vāman Gosvāmī Maharaj, who is, and Srila Vāman Gosvāmī Maharaj had a special form of shorthand, so he can catch everything that was spoken. And so he would say like, a few sentences and then start talking to this person, blah, 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 and dealing with this, and then say a few other sentences, and Srila Vāman Gosvāmī Maharaj would write it down, and then it would go to the printers to be published. And Srila Vāman Gosvāmī Maharaj's writing was so perfect, he wouldn't miss anything, and it would be a full article that was made in the middle of like multitasking. Yeah. Sometimes guests would I just read that, right? Yeah. Sometimes guests would arrive unexpectedly when Gurupad Padma was dictating an article of Sri Patrika, but even after conversing with them at length about various topics, he would not lose track of the main subject of the article or experience. Yeah, okay. Sorry. More than anything, I'm just going to read this whole article. Sorry. It's really good. More than anything, it was Srila Acharya Dev's undivided conviction in his own Sri Gurupad Padma that secured him a seat of distinction among his peers and followers. Always offering sound advice to his godbrothers on legal matters and various other concerns, he displayed a generous, liberal disposition. He was renowned in the Saraswat Gaudiya community as an expert on ethics and policy and a talented logician, because when complex spiritual questions or obscure logical dilemmas arose, he would offer profound, solid answers that concurred with scriptural precedent. Srila Acharya Dev set the standard for the faithful observance of holy fasting days, like Sri Janmashtami, Sri Akadashi, Sri Gaur Jayanti, Sri Ram Navami, Sri Narsingha Chaturdashi, Sri Advaita Saptami, and Sri Nityananda Trayadashi. Careful to avoid fasting on days when two lunar dates overlap. Yes, there. If you see the Prabandhavali of Srila Bhakti Brighan Keśava Goswami, Prabandhavali means a collection of articles. You can see he wrote, there's a section in there where he writes whole articles, sometimes really long ones, when one of the other Gaudiya Mats were following it on this, using the Smarta day or something like that, and he would it was actually something that he really put a lot of emphasis on correctly calculating all the titis. Yeah. Also, I've seen some Gaudiya Mats, they don't fast on Advaita Saptami or Nityananda Trayadashi. So he really strongly. Such an overlap causes the sacred occasion to start well after sunrise. Okay, so he made the point to avoid fasting on days when two lunar dates overlap. Such an overlap causes the sacred occasion to start well after sunrise, making it impossible to observe a full vow of fasting from one sunrise to the next during that holy lunar day. And he ensured total strict observance of the rules and prohibitions of Chaturmasya and Urja Vrat within his Sri Vedanta Samiti, adhering to the customs and example practiced and preached by Srila Saraswati Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Sriman Mahaprabhu. We'll be reading his instructions on how to follow Kartik tomorrow. And Damodarashtakam what do you call it? The preface. He never encouraged or condoned any sort of negligence in observing Chaturmasya vows or the deceitful adulation of honoring only Urja Vrat. He writes about that topic in what we'll read tomorrow also. Because anyways, we'll read it. I'm not going to say what it says. Once during a discussion on Tattva Siddhanta with the Venerable King of Renunciates, Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev displayed his faith in his Guru, saying, I have never met the previous Goswamis. I do not know them. I simply accept Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada's line of thought as the unerring truth, and I will try to know and understand the previous Goswamis through Srila Prabhupada's eyes. I will give his explanations and commentaries preference. I'll give his explanations and commentaries preference before all others, even before the other Goswamis. Acharya je mata she mata sar, anya ar mata jata jauka charakar. The opinion of the Acharya is the most important. Any other opinions are to be rejected. This is my viewpoint. His single-pointed faith in Srila Prabhupada is certainly unequaled. I actually made a video on like I did a nicely recorded video for on this story with Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. It's on the Vine of Devotion YouTube channel. Yeah. And it came from my Gurudev's biography of Srila Bhakti and Keśava Goswami Maharaj. Srila Guru Parma, the dearmost associate of Sri Gaurasundar, has written, and sorry, I just on that topic, we see how that example is more important than ever, because there are people who are very effectively like convincing lots of other devotees who are in our like line of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, convincing people that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wasn't actually fully giving the whole truth, or it was like what was the word that is used? Anyways, that bhakti is not inherent in the jiva, because Srila Jiva Goswami says otherwise. He says something else, and so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his teachings don't actually agree with Srila Jiva Goswami's, and Jiva Goswami is more authoritative. Anyways, it was like this whole other idea. And so this point is very relevant, because we take our acharyas, we understand the Goswamis through them. So if we say that they're speaking a different philosophy from the Goswamis, it means that our own understanding is at fault. And Sundar Gopal, Simon Haas, Sundar Gopal, he's now dedicating I don't know how many years it's going to be, like 7 years or 8 years or something like that, towards researching this very topic and showing how everything that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying is completely in accord with Srila Jiva Goswami. And he's getting his PhD from Oxford University on this exact topic. And his findings are amazing. Every now and then he'll show me some little things that he found, and it's a very, anyways. Srila Gurupad Parma, the dearmost associate of Sri Gaurasundar, has written Maya Badir Jivani, Va Vaishnav Vijay, for the eternal benefit of the conditioned souls. After refuting materialists, deviant yogis, and adherents of other faulty doctrines, He showed them the path of real spiritual knowledge and ultimate spiritual benefits. We published that book in English as Beyond Nirvana. I've never read it, but Anita told me that she actually, when she started reading it, it was so compelling that, I mean, like, that she read it all in one sitting. It's not written in a very dry, boring thing. It's like he writes so much history and stories with, and yeah, it's a very, yeah, I should read it. As an ideal Tridandi Goswami, he wanted to bestow true auspiciousness even upon antagonistic hypocrites. We find many instances of his fearlessness and steadfastness in protecting the truth. Never once did he support the doctrine that spirit and matter are non-different. To expose the indulgent tendencies and selfish mentality of the Prakrit Sahajiyas, he published and circulated Sahajiya Dalan, which was based on a compilation of articles and notes by Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, while personally demonstrating the ideal of maintaining an immaculate standard of conduct and a faultless way of life. In contrast to the trivial efforts of the central government and various missions to introduce social initiatives to alleviate physical and mental distress, Srila Acharyadev established spiritual hospitals, temples, a Vedanta college, and other such institutions. He also established a medical thing to treat people, like patients of different things, for free. For free or like practically nothing. He was more severe than a thunderbolt in rejecting bad association and more pleasant than a lotus flower in regard to endeavors favorable for the cultivation of bhakti. Giving no quarter to the customs of the materialistic smarta community, which is mired in ritualistic orthodoxy, karma kanda, and advocates customs like ashocha, that's when a family members of the deceased are recently born are considered impure, or malmas, the prohibition of religious activity during the sacred leap month of Purushottam. Srila Gurupad Padma instead preached the purifying power of chanting the holy name and the importance of observing sacred vows during Purushottam month, as we see in his article, Shri Purushottam Vrat Palan. Also, he established his Devananda Gaudiya Math right in the center where he faced the most opposition. That was like where the Smarta community, like where he faced the most opposition. He's like, that's where I'm going to establish my mott, where I get the most opposition. I'm going to go right to the heart of it and stab it in the heart. It's like really, that was his fearless. That's why he's called Acharya Keśava. A surrendered soul with no possessions, he spent his life completely dependent on Krishna's will. His constant attitude was, may the desire of Bhagavan be fulfilled. And by the will of Bhagavan, everything is possible. This awed his disciples. His fondness of pigeons and sparrows, his strict policy of non-violence, and his simple empathetic interactions with everyone, young or old, drew everyone's attention. He never compromised his simple, straightforward, and tranquil disposition, even when sharply refuting the various degraded, devious doctrines of Jiva Brahmaika Vadis, who consider that the living being is Brahma, are Panchamishalis, a subsect of Lingayat Shaivites, Panchupasakis, who worship the five deities, Surya, Ganesh, Durga, Shiva, and Vishnu. There's a Panchapasak temple just right behind me there. Bahu Ishwaravadis, who believe that there are many gods, Shunyavadis, Buddhists, and others, Nirvishesh Brahmavadis, or impersonalists, pantheists, and others. He never condoned laziness in the name of performing solitary bhajan. On the contrary, he instructed everyone to cultivate Krishna Bhakti in the association of sadhus by body, mind, and words. He taught by his own exemplary practice that one attains all perfection and absorption in Krishna Prem only by Sri Harinam. To his disciples, he demonstrated by his own perfect example that one can conquer hunger, thirst, and the destructive tendencies of the five senses by loud kirtan, day and night, of the 16 name Hare Krishna Mahamantra. either by chanting a fixed number of rounds or chanting incessantly. He taught that although Srila Kaviraj Goswami says, I am lower than a worm in stool, while Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur says, I will kick the head of such people, those averse to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. So one should know both statements to have the same purport, conveying true humility that benefits the soul. I saw an article about this. He spoke this on Parikrama somewhere. It's published in one of the Hindi Bhagavat Patrikas. And he talks about the false humility of the Prakrit Sahajas and true humility of the pure Vaishnavas. And he gives this example here. Yeah. With this understanding, one should receive initiation into the Dharma of offering respect to one and all without expecting any honor in return, and chant Krishna Nam. The exalted and profound sentiments he expressed in regard to his object and method of worship, Upasya Tattva, establish him simultaneously as both a Bhajananandi, one who delights in bhajan, and a Goshtanandi, one who delights in propagating bhakti. His mercy in acting to liberate jivas from the burden of their anarthas was causeless. The doors of his temples and mats were always open for the benefit of people trying to perform Hari Bhajan. His endeavors to serve his Vaishnav peers were without limit, and he was only satisfied once he had served them perfectly. The best introduction to his supramundane character is given in the books that he wrote to destroy Mayavad. In his poems, philosophical articles, and so on, and in the profound lectures on spiritual philosophy he delivered at various assemblies. Once again, I'm just checking the comments here on YouTube and Facebook. Vidyalal, what is it? Oh, you're going to Vishramghat for Sankalpa. Okay, great. Haribo Rajbhuvan Yadav ji. Prajñāna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji. Let me just see. Vidyalalasa Didi. Vidyalalasa says, that's really such an important point about glorification. For sure, there's so much to learn and be inspired from our Guru Varga. Their life history is so empowering. Where would we be without them? 100%. Okay, he took full shelter of Srila Saraswati Prabhupada's instructions, was eternally established in the conceptions of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and always relished the concepts preached by Sri Rupa and Raghunath. Thus, he remained immersed in the pleasure of serving Sri Sri Gaur Radha Vinod Bihariji. He had always tried to engage his disciples in Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan, and he instructed them to avoid mundane conversation, or the urge to speak, mentioned in Sri Upadeshamrita. We read a very strong letter the other day to some disciples that were engaging in gossip in the mat. It was very heavy in our reading a couple days ago. No one could give Srila Guru Pad Padma any foodstuffs or clothes, no matter how hard they tried. He never accepted any donations or deeds of properties from his widowed followers. And he would not allow his disciples to accept such charity either. Because I wonder if that was because he wanted them to be maintained and like, don't be too generous because now they don't have a husband to maintain them. I'm wondering, I don't know. I think that's what it means. On the other hand, he never hesitated to bestow mercy, even when it was not asked for. To inspire enthusiasm to serve Guru and Vaishnavas, he sometimes accepted simple offerings. Contemplating the perils of those who were attached to their families, he had always warned his renunciant disciples by describing the Prakrit Sahajas as Ghara Pagla, or madly attached to their home, and Grihi Baula, household mendicants. He used to quote the statement from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila 6-278. Vishayir anna khaile malin hoy man, malin man hoyle nahe Krishner smaran. Says Mahaprabhu's instruction to Raghunath Das Goswami. If one eats food given by materialists, the mind becomes contaminated. And when the mind is contaminated, one cannot remember Krishna. Following this principle, he strictly forbade any exchange or contact with the sampradayas of those who try to enjoy Guru and his property, the Guru Bhogis, and those who renounce Guru, Guru Tyagis. By his own example, he taught his disciples to practice renunciation of enjoyment for the pleasure of Krishna. During Sri Urja Vrat, Sri Purushottam Vrat, and other occasions of observing strict vows, he would instruct his disciples to give up their craving for nice meals and to practice renunciation by sleeping on the ground and eating like a cow, that is, without using one's hands. If you go to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Bhajan Kutir in, it's actually the room I think where he entered Nitilila even, in Sri Chaitanya Mata in Mayapur, you can see they have a stone that like broken off from the floor. It's a marble slab, and it says that this is where he used to eat off of during the entire Chaturmasya. He'd eat without his hands like a cow, straight on the grounds, no plate, no nothing, straight on the marble floor. Yeah. In regard to accepting donations, he instructed devotees going out to collect alms, bhiksha, to properly consider the verse by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Tomar sevai, dukkha hoy jato, sheo to parama sukha. Troubles encountered in your service shall be the cause of great happiness. We embrace the suffering and the troubles that happen in the service of Krishna. That's what gives us happiness. He told them that they should not seek to live a comfortable life, but should tolerate difficulties for the service of Sri Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Some people living in the mutt had sufficient bank balance to maintain themselves for the rest of their lives. He called those so-called disciples hypocrites disguised as Vaishnavas, sense enjoyers devoid of faith in Bhagavan, and atheists. Srila Gurupad Padma was the ideal guru and was expert in Krishna Tattva. He forbade those who presumed they could follow his example to meditate on Ashtakaliya Lila and imagine their spiritual form, their Siddha Deha, while still suffering from anarthas or unwanted tendencies. He would draw everyone's attention to a particular quote of Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Smaran will take place by the influence of kirtan, and then it is possible to perform solitary bhajan. Or is it, how does it go? Anyways. Smarana, what is it? Kirtana prabhave smarana hoebe shekale nirjana bhajana sampad. It's the last two lines of Dushtamantaniki Seda Vaishnava. He pointed out that the improper imitation of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas is not service or worship, but rather hypocrisy. On the main door of Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Chatushpati, the school he founded, when you go to Devananda Gaudiya Math, just on the very outside of it, of Devananda Gaudiya Math, you see Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Chatushpati. So that's the school he founded. He asked his disciples to write the following verse by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Jada vidya jata mayar vaibhav tomar bhajane badha moha janamiya anitya sangsare jivake koroye gadha. Knowledge of this material world is knowledge born of your illusory energy, maya. It creates obstacles in devotional service and makes an ass of the eternal living entity by increasing his infatuation with this temporary world. In other words, there is no real use in studying scripture, grammar, etc., just to collect money, beautiful women, and prestige. All should know, and he said, all should know that real honor is found in the cultivation of knowledge that causes love for Krishna to manifest in the heart. Okay, so if in your study of the scriptures, love for Krishna is not manifesting in your heart, that is not actually knowledge. You must sincerely kick out whatever knowledge causes obstacles to bhakti. Saraswati, the goddess of learning, is dear to Krishna, and Krishna bhakti resides in her heart. This knowledge, steeped in devotion, is Bhakti Vinod's wealth. Oh, that's from that song. Yeah. It's Vidyara Vilase, Katainu Kala. That's the song. What he wished to teach was the purport of these statements. Srila Gurupad Padma never tolerated those who made a pretense of service or imitated bhakti. Once, one of his grihasta disciples offered him the deed to a property to establish a mutt, but then tried to make Guru and Vaishnavas his servants. Srila Gurudev called for the mutt devotees who had gone to the grihasta's house to return, and thereafter treated that so-called disciple with indifference. Yeah, he was very strong. We just read in one of the letters, he didn't want to have a holiday in the Bhakti Vinod Institute on Sunday and Saturday. And the government was trying to force him to do that. And they said that if he doesn't have a holiday, because he wanted to just have the holidays on Akadashi and Panchami. And so he said that they said that if you don't establish holidays on these 2 days, then we will take away our funding. And he's like, so be it. and so from that day, they didn't get any assistance from the government in their school because he wouldn't compromise. He was so he was always that mood. We actually find other letters where, and we read about that about Srila Bhakti Puri Gosvāmī, how he'd never become subservient to somebody who donates something, that like all of a sudden you become their slave. But no, they gave this in Krishna's service, and it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we have to become all like submissive to them. He was very strict in disciplining his personal servants and expected even so-called professed disciples to abandon duplicity, to honor the senior servants of their guru, and to cooperate. He condemned the behavior of those who made a show of begging alms, madhukari, in Vraj Mandal or other holy places to maintain their lives, and would remind us that those attached to indulging their tongue and other senses suffered the terrifying consequence of being born in Vraj as monkeys, turtles, and other lower species. Okay, so the monkeys, turtles, and other species like that in Vrindavan, they were beggars in their previous life, but trying to enjoy everything that they're begging. He would say that until one attains a state of transcendence beyond the modes of material nature, he cannot develop the capacity to accept alms without being affected by the modes. There's a very strong example of this in my Gurudev's biography of Śrīla Bhakti-vedanta Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja, with a disciple who kept some of the donations that he collected for his own necessities. He didn't give 100% everything that he got to Śrīla Param Gurudev. And anyways, that's a really strong one. Okay. Yeah, you can find that one if you want to read that. It's really good on this topic. On one occasion, one of Srila Guru Mahāraja's godbrothers wrote in his magazine, "Those who dwell outside of Mayapur are far away from it, are deprived of service to Srila Prabhupada." Srila Acharya Dev objected to this and announced in a voice as deep as a thunderbolt, "Those who exploit their guru and his accomplishments for their own enjoyment, or who have abandoned their guru or his teachings, are millions of miles away from the Srila Prabhupada. They have left Mayapur and have been living in the kingdom of Kali for the past 10 to 12 years. Even though living in the Mat, or even though living in Mayapur, they are living in the kingdom of Kali for the past 10 to 12 years. Surely they have not served Srila Prabhupada and Mayapur during this time. They have made only an outward pretense of serving Srila Prabhupada and Sri Dham. Sri Gurupad Padma, who is non-different from Nityananda Prabhu, always deceives duplicitous people by offering them wealth and other temptations. On the other hand, those servants who are exclusively dedicated to the service of their guru and whose lives are surrendered to guru remain absorbed in the service of Sri Gurudev's innermost desires, no matter where they live." Srila Gurupad Padma endeavored from the core of his heart to serve anyone who approached him and who had some relationship with Srila Prabhupada, whether they are a renunciant resident of the Mat, a householder, or anyone else. This is the special transcendental quality of a disciple who has offered his Atma, his very self, to Sri Gurudev. Yeah, my Gurudev would always say that a real Guru-sevak will give honor to even a dog that is related to his Gurudev. Anybody who has any connection with their Gurudev, even if that person is very horrible and mean to you, they'll still have regard for that, honor in that person because of their connection. because you have so much, not anything, it doesn't matter anything about your personal anything. Everything matters on everybody's relationship with your guru. That's how you relate with everybody on the basis of that. Sri Guru Padma was often seen to be quite particular about organizing even 5 and 10 rupee notes very carefully and beautifully in his money bag, which may have given someone plenty of reason to think that he was too attached to money. When asked about this, he would reply in Srila Prabhupada's words, Asakti Rahita Sambandha Sahita Vishaya Samuha Sakali Madhava. We should be detached from material things and at the same time see them in relation to Madhav, as everything is meant for his pleasure. In other words, divine attachment to the service of Sriman Mahaprabhu is synonymous with the bliss of Bhagavat Prem, which seeks to please Krishna's senses. Those who try to imitate rather than follow Srila Guru Padma's divine character will inevitably be guilty of deviating from the performance of bhajan. However, accepting his loving chastisement and the instructions he gives to benefit one's soul will bring auspiciousness. He would say that although Guru's heart is pained by the misery of others, it is impossible to help them if they are dishonest. Just one, this isn't really, I just like about Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, just talking about how carefully he kept every single 5 rupee note. Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj, there's a similar thing, like he had his sevak, Nartham Prabhu, he would hang up his clothes and put pins on the thing, and Srila Bharati Maharaj knew exactly how many pins there were to hang up his clothes. And then one day he noticed that one of the pins was missing. And then he said to Nartham Prabhu, where's this pin? There's this many pins. There's supposed to be this many pins, clothespins. And Nartham Prabhu said, I don't know what happened to he said, but they don't cost any money. It's 10 rupees. And then Srila Bharati Maharaj said, no, somebody donated money, and with this money we got these clothespins for Krishna for Guru and Krishna's service. And like he made a big deal about it, that every single any small offering that somebody makes in the service of Guru and Krishna is highly regarded by us, and we treat it with so much honor. And there's actually lots of stories with Srila Bharati Maharaj in that, but we need to move on. Okay. One day, when a devotee requested him to speak on Raslila, Brahmar Git, etc., he replied, when the heart has attained a state of pure transcendence, Shuddha Sattva, having been freed of undesirable tendencies, then as one chants the holy name, the eligibility to hear about Raslila and other similar pastimes appears. Otherwise, the transcendental pastimes of Shri Shri Radha Govinda will seem to be the exploits of a mundane hero and heroine, which will give rise to perverse notions. Ras can only appear in the spiritual body. It is impossible to experience the amorous ecstasy known as Shringar Ras in a material body. Only a person who has lost interest in gross pleasures and whose consciousness has wakened with divine love, Jatarati, is qualified to discuss Sambhoga Ras. The mercy and inspiration of Bhagavan are essential in order to understand Sri Guru and Vaishnavas in truth. Sometimes Vaishnavas give prestige and honor to a person who is averse to Sri Krishna in an effort to stay far away from his bad association. Other times, Vaishnavas conceal their identity and nature out of fear of associating with worldly persons. While they sometimes make a display of accepting disciples and being surrounded by them, and even receiving advice and service from them, they nevertheless preserve their independence. This is a speciality of their inconceivable divine character. Let's see how much longer it is, because there are only a few more minutes left. Yes, we're at the end. This is the last page. Okay. Sorry. Throughout... Oh man, I lost the spot. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, there. Throughout his life, Srila Acharya Padma always sought to protect Srila Prabhupada's innermost wishes. He was constantly engaged in establishing Daiva Varnashram Dharma, maintaining his spiritual practice, preaching the conclusions of Bhakti, organizing pilgrimages of the holy Dham, setting up printing presses to publish devotional literature, propagating the holy name, and other such services. Some months before Srila Paramaradhadeva entered Upper Katlila, he enacted a pastime of accepting medical treatment in the big city of Kolkata, the capital of Kali. At that time, he was staying in a house of a very faithful devotee in Tangra, near Kolkata. People may doubt why he left Sri Dham to stay in the capital of Kali. Jathai Vaishnavagan, She Sthan Vrindavan, She Sthane Ananda Ashesh. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes this. Mahabhagavat Shri Gurus invoke the transcendental realm of Goloka Vrindavan, causing it to appear wherever they go, and remain absorbed in the Ashtakaliya Seva of the youthful divine couple of Raj. The eternally liberated topmost Mahapurushas relish the sweetness of Sri Sri Radha Govinda's transcendental pastimes and the magnanimity of Sri Gaurasundar, who came to bestow the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prem. Ordinary people who yearn to perform Hari Bhajan, especially the servants of Sri Gauriya Vedanta Samiti, are exceptionally fortunate and blessed to have attained the shelter of the lotus feet of such a Mahabhagavat. Without a doubt, Sri Rupanuga Saraswat Vaishnavas are and will always remain indebted in all respects to this transcendental Mahapurush. Jai Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Gurudev ki Jai and Śrīla Trivikram Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. All right, so that is our reading for today. It's 8:30 exactly, perfect timing. And okay, I just decided we're not going to read Dhammarashtakam tomorrow because I want to read glorification of my Gurudev. I'll start the day after tomorrow because I don't feel complete. If I we read all these glorifications of my Param Gurudev, but we couldn't read from my Gurudev. That just doesn't feel right to me. So I'll start the day after tomorrow. Sorry about that. It just yeah. Oh, Kishore, I didn't even notice you. Haribol Kishore Prabhu. Would you? Oh, I'll do a quick mantra, and then you can, if you're feeling up to it, you can do Jaivani. Oops, did I miss out a line when I was reading? Sorry about that. I don't know what line it was. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Kishore Prabhu, would you like to do Jayadwani?
Jai Suprikar Shri Shri Durga Auranga Karna Hariga Giri Hari Rar Vinar Bihari Rar Nainath Radharaman Bihari Rar Marva Shri Shri Mahaprabhu Radha Damodar Ji ki Jai. Sri Govind Govinath Manan Mahan Ji ki Jai. Jai Nityalela Pravishtam Vishnupar Paramaham Sabri Vrajakacharya Varya Astotrashta Shishiman Bhakti Vigyan Shila Bharati Goswami Guru Mahārāja ki Jai. जय नित्यलीला प्रविष्टं विष्णुपार परमहंस व्रजकचार्य वर्य अष्टोत्तरशत शिष्यमान जगद्गुरु शिल भक्ति ब्रांड नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज परिपावन गुरुदेव की जय. जय नित्यलीला प्रविष्टं विष्णुपार अष्टोत्तरशत शिष्यमान भक्ति बल तीर्थ गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. जय नित्यलीला प्रविष्टं विष्णुपार अष्टोत्तरशत शिष्यमान भक्ति ब्रांड शिल वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. जय नित्यलीला प्रविष्टं विष्णुपार अष्टोत्तरशत शिष्यमान भक्ति ब्रांड शिल त्रिविक्रम गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान भक्ति रहित मार्ग गोस्वामी परम गुरु महाराज की जय। जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त श्री श्रीमान जगत गुरु कृति-रत्न शिशिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज शील परम गुरुदेव चार केशरी की जय। जय शिशुमान भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज परम गुरुदेव चार केशरी की जय। जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्रस्त शिशुमान जगत गुरु शिव वृषभाना विदयित दास शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। सत्स्वरिकार शिल प्रभुपाद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद महापरम भगवत परवार परमहंस अष्टोत्तरस्त श्रीमार गौर किशोर दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद सप्तम गोस्वामी अष्टोत्तरस्त शिशुमाद सचिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर मोशाई की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सर्वोम अष्टोत्तरस्त शिशुमाद श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाशाय की जय। सूर्य कुंदवासी सिद्ध हर्षल मधुसूदन दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री उर्वदास उदरान दास की जय। गुरुविदान आचार्य शिशुल बलदेव विभूषण प्रभु की जय। महामहोपध्याय रसकृष्ण मनीषल विष्णु चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर पाद की जय। शिशिल रसिकानंद मुरारी प्रभु की जय। शिशिल रामचंद्र कविराज की जय। श्री लोचन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री नरहरि शंकर ठाकुर की जय। शिल नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु त्राय की जय। शिशिल कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। ये सबदार अरिका विशल वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री अष्टक विराज वसुर जानवर नित्यानंद दुर्श गोपाल श्री चौषति महंत की जय। जय श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शर गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर यनमानंद लोकनाथ गर्भ अधि गौर परिषाद वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। शिल ईश्वरपुरी गोस्वामी पार की जय। शिल माधवेंद्रपुरी गोस्वामी पार की जय। श्री अंतरद्वीप मायापुर सिमनद्वीप गौद्रमद्वीप मध्यद्वीप गोलद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जानुद्वीप मातृद्वीप रुद्राद्वीप मका श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री एक चक्र धाम की जय। श्री शांतिपुर धाम की जय। श्री गौरचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री श्री गौर गदाधर जीव की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ कवि कवि गौ गिरि गोवर्धन माख श्री ब्रज मंडल धाम की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गंग सखी आमद सखी तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय। ब्रजेश्वरी ब्रजेश्वरी वृषभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा रानी ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री ललिता विशाख चित्र चंपकलता तुंग विजय इंदुलेख रंगदेवी सुदेवी अरि सखी वृंद की जय। श्री आनंद प्रेम मजलाली श्री रूप लवंग राग विलस गुणरति कस्तूरी कमल नयन मणि अरि मंजारी वृंद की जय। श्री विनोद मंजरी देवी की जय। श्री विनोद मंजरी की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भगवती पूर्णमासी उमाई देवी की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर सर शिव महादेव की जय। राधा पदन की तदाम श्री वृंदावन की जय। जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र निरमार जीव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र मंडल नीलाचल धाम की जय। सर्वा विक्राम रशन कुरे भक्त विक्राम विनाश सुरेंद्र सिंह देव की जय। भक्तराज भक्त प्रवर शिवलाल महाराज की जय। श्री बलाल लक्ष्मेंद्र सिंह देव की जय। श्री चरिदाम चरि संप्रदाय चर्याचार्य की जय। श्री मध्वार मनोजा विष्णु स्वामी नंबरत्याचार्याचार्य की जय। अकर्मंतरा श्री चैतन्य मार की जय। श्री घोर्यमाट वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्री मार भगवताम भगवदगीता चैतन्य चरितामृत चैतन्य भगवत जैव धर्म आदि सर्व गौरीय वैष्णव ग्रंथ वृंद की जय। श्री मायवारी की जीवनी की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल गोलोकेर प्रेमदान श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन युग धर्म की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल धन्य कलियुग तर्क ब्रह्म श्री हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे महामंत्र की जय। श्री आनंद कुरी वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री समकट गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ji ki jai. Shri Yashoda Damodar Ji ki jai. Shri Kartik Vrat Damodar Vrat ki jai. जय नित्य लील प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णु पार स्तोत्रस्त श्री श्रीमाद कृतिरत्न शिशिल भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील परम गुरुदेव की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
Dandavat pranams, dear devotees. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Oh, Kishore, you. I remember you wanted me to take pictures or video yesterday. I didn't do that because it was so busy, but I didn't take down the decorations yet, so I could show you that. You want to see? This is from yesterday, our program that we had here. So we made this little makeshift thing here. Radha Vinod Bihari above Gurudev there, like that. And yeah, it was a very nice program though. We did Nagar Sankirtan to the Ganga, and then I didn't know the whole Sankalpa thing from the end of the songbook, and so what I did is I found a recording on YouTube of Gurudev there at the Yamuna doing Sankalpa, and Tirtha Maharaj saying all the the Sankalpa mantras and everything like that. And so we did it like that. And then we did Nagar Sankirtan back and did an hour of Kirtan, then hour 15 minutes Harikatha, and then Arti to Param Gurudev, and then Guru Saka Brahmachari standing right there. He cooked a huge feast, so many different items, all by himself without any help. And it was actually a big drama because the gas wasn't working. And so he was going to different houses trying to find gas and all that. It started cooking really late. But anyways, it was an amazing feast. And we served, I think, 35 to 40 people per side at the program. So it's good. Okay. Yes, the Sankalpa mantras are in the Archana Deepika new versions. I was actually like I worked on that. But yeah. But then you have to do all the calculations and everything, and I hadn't done that before because you have to find out anyway, so we just did that. Oh, who gave class? It wasn't really, it was like more Ishtagoshti style Harikatha. So we read different articles and would stop and discuss different parts of the articles. And like we'd have good discussion, it wasn't just reading. But yeah, that was more how we did it. But yeah, the people who came were Kishore, Jayashree, and their kids. Chandrasekhar had to cancel last minute. But then Bhopade Prabhu. Bhopade Prabhu's from Oregon, right? Anyways, yeah, he's your godbrother. Yeah, and then who else? Gayatri, her son Jiva. There's a lady from Lithuania, a disciple of Jai Pataka Maharaj. She came and she really liked the program. And yeah, it was a small, sweet program. Oh, Rup Charan, he was there. And yeah, and then a couple of the villagers, but it was all in English, so there weren't that many people there. But yeah, it was a small program. But then the prasad, all the different villagers around us came, so that's why we served up prasad to so many people. All right, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Maybe okay, I know what we'll do. We will read like Gurudev's glorification of Param Gurudev, and then read the preface. So we will start on Damodarashtakam tomorrow. We just won't read the first verse. We'll read the Param Gurudev's preface, where he tells how to observe Kṛti-ratna and all that. So, all right, Hari Bol, everybody. Dandavat pranam. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Hari Bol.
Radhe. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about the time that Gurudev, like in the early years, here's that he left for some time, and that he left Keshav Chigoriyaman for some time and went to Govardhan? You know where I could read about that?
There's a little bit about that in one of the Rays of the Harmonists. I can't remember which edition it is. Maybe it's the 2001 edition or 2002 edition of the Rays of the Harmonists. It explains something. I mean, this is a very vague memory, but I think it explains something about the place where Gurudev did his bhajan in Govardhan, and that very. I think it meant something about that there. That I don't think it was like a very in-depth thing, but I think it was like a paragraph or something like that about Gurudev, where because I think we established the mat where Gurudev previously performed bhajan. Yeah, I do remember hearing some story though. Something to do with rain. Oh God. Maybe that was in that Rays of the Harmonists article, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
but definitely the spot of Giriraj Bodhiamat is
Giritari
this is
Gorimat, yeah.
it's definitely the spot where he stayed. One of the spots, that he stayed during that month.
You know, I heard I mean, this is a little bit
He
off
told
topic.
us that.
Okay, yes. Yeah. Something that I heard recently, no, I saw recently, there's a devotee, a prominent ISKCON devotee, and he's saying Brajadana Manasukakari. He's saying the whole song, and then he gave an explanation of the song, and I was like, wow, he's speaking Brajadana Manasukakari in ISKCON temple, Gurudev's song. And then at the end, he said that this was written by somebody who lived in Kusum Sarovar named Narayan. But I mean, that song is definitely written by Gurudev, like without a doubt. I mean, I have the PDF of the Bhagavad Patrika that it was first published in I think the 50s, is 1950 something, that it was published in Gurudev's own Bhagavad Patrika. And so like we have
no, but
somebody wrote that, but yeah, I just thought that
right. No, but it's very known, Prabhu. There is this rock band, it's called Madhava Rock Band,
yes.
in Indian, and the wife sings, and it thanks, when there was the 100th anniversary of Gurudev's appearance, she mentioned that Gurudev and gave all honor to Srila Gurudev.
Yeah.
So I don't know this person, whatever, but it must be the oddball, but the rest, I mean, it's very known that this is definitely Gurudev's song.
It was a very like prominent ISKCON devotee also. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want people to think bad of a particular person, but it was a prominent person. Yeah.
I heard that the last line that mentions Gurudev's name Narayan was actually not in the original song, and that Param Gurudev wrote that in there.
Really? Huh. Interesting. If you want to find the original printing of that, you can find it on Srivasa's page. If you just go to Srivasa's Facebook page and you click on photo images, that's how I found it. He shared it there first.
Yeah, one interesting thing, it's pretty deep thing, is that instructions by Guru Mahārāja. And now you're reading some of the general instructions, but a few days ago you were reading specific instructions to Grihasthas, where he tells this Grihastha, begging is not the thing to do, and like that. And one time Gurudev in Ananda Ashram says, always for you, always, first is your Guru Mahārāja. The instruction of Guru Mahārāja is supersedes anything else.
Yes.
And so in this general instructions too, it's a very theme of controversy and like that, and where they accuse Srila Gurudev Narayan Maharaj of being Sahaja because of like publishing Gita Govinda and like that, and but he had a specific instructions for different devotees too. In general, he said, no one's qualified to hear this, but if I don't write about it, And actually, there's a very good article in the Harmonies by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, where he actually encourages, and that's what Prabhupada based publishing the Krishna book first, the core of of Srimad Bhagavatam, which
the article it's called Raising the Divine Temple of the Bhagavat and Establishing the Parakya. Yeah, that article.
Exactly. It's awesome. I think that is like so valuable, Prabhu. So very valuable. Because he said, there are so many interpretations to this, like bring bad name to this, but there must be a commentary, there must be this published in the right light. So that's what Gurudev used to say, if I don't do this, it's gonna be lost in time. And then again, we're gonna be covered by those.
This is our property. This is our, like, we are the ones who are like, this is, so why are we letting just the Sahajas take these high scriptures? And no, we have to give our own commentary because we are the that article is amazing. I remember in the Srimad Bhagavatam readings. Yeah. Well, is that Keśava?
I remember asking Padmanabha Maharaj, I was talking to him once, and he said that there was one sannyasi that was saying, Narayan Maharaj is coming out with the Gita Govinda. And so Padmanabha Maharaj went to Gurudev and asked, Gurudev, what do I reply to these people who are objecting to you coming out with the Gita Govinda? And Gurudev said, this is our property. This Gita Govinda is the property of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And so many people have given so many commentaries on it and everything, but this is our property, and this has to be established.
Yes. And that in general, that's very important.
Govinda gives all the precautions for who can read this. Also, it's not like it was just given out without any explanation. It shows you, like, if you're ready to read it or not in the beginning.
But what I'm going back to the first point is that Guru Maharaj is the one that we should follow. If he has a specific instruction about it, then that trumps everything else. So we were in this room in Navadvip many years back, and it was just after the publication came out, Gita Govinda came out. And these devotees, they were book distributors, came in the room, and I won't name them, of course, but and they were saying, Gurudev, we swear we're never gonna read this, and we're not qualified. But Gurudev said, actually, the whole world, no one is qualified. And Gurudev kept looking at them, and he said, we swear we're not gonna distribute it. We're not gonna read it. And very good. So, and they left, and Bhakti and I were sitting next to him. He turned to us and he said, "But we must read." So Mahabodhi too. He gave specific instructions to read the 6 Gosvāmī's books. And I know other godsisters too that he did ask them to do so. And so that's what I'm saying. We have to know and how to navigate these waters, because in general, there are instructions in general for devotees of the mat in general who are in different levels. And then there are specific instructions given by Guru Maharaj. So in our case, our Shiksha Gurudev told us to do so. So, that's what we take as priority. But so we don't want that to say, oh, well, they're reading that and now they're saying everybody should, no. The point is to follow our Guru Maharaj's orders and instructions. And so, because in many instances, there was all during Prabhupada's life, this Prabhupada said. And many of those things were false, or were instructions that were specific for someone in a specific situation. And so that's what I was just trying to comment about right now, sorry.
No, and also there are many examples of Gurudev stopping people from singing. Like, I remember Gurudev, like Rupa Kishore started singing Kalayati Nayanam, and Gurudev immediately, I was in Keshavji Gaudiya, and Gurudev stopped him and said, have you controlled your senses? Or I forgot exactly what Gurudev said to him, but he stopped him from singing that song. And so then and And I remember one time, I think it was Jai Gopal. He started singing "Dekite Dekite" on the speaker in the temple room, and then Mahārāja went downstairs and stopped him from singing that song that Gurudev told him to stop. So Gurudev also was. It wasn't just like Gurudev was very cheaply, like giving the like and all his disciples like just speaking about gopis and blah blah blah. Like no, like Gurudev was very, and you hear in his Harikatha, he never he was very careful with how he approached these subject matters, and he wouldn't just he was very respectful and cautious and like that.
So that's what we should safeguard him, from that when people saying things like that.
Yes.
And
I remember one devotee, he brought up the point that when Gurudev first came to the West, he gave class on Upadeshamrita, on the nectar of instruction, and he said that this is proof that Gurudev is not a Prakṛti-sahaja, because Prakṛti-sahajas don't follow nectar of instruction. And Gurudev spoke that you have to control your senses and everything. And then come to the point of going to Radhakund.
Yes.
I was just chuckling, kind of laughing right now because we were one of those junctions where it was all very nice, those rasa, descriptions, and it was so beautiful. But so the next day, Gurudev, I think it was the occasion that we had now Gaur Purnima at Govardhan, and he went straight to Manashiksha, and it was like days of Manashiksha, so it's always like they know what to do, how to apply. They're doctors, It's just like, oh yeah, I read them, such books on medicine, and so I'm a doctor now. I know what to do. No, I mean there's so much to it, and they became doctors because they were accepted by other doctors. So the doctors of Bhakti Yoga, and so they know what to prescribe, when to prescribe for what patient, and like that. I had my uncle was a very prominent doctor, and he wrote for international medical journals, and he was very famous for his diagnosis. But he would spend maybe hours with the patients to find out everything about them. But what he told us is that the medicine prescribed to this particular person is for them. Perhaps for you will be half the tablet or none at all. And so, yes. So that's why I went back. I just thought of mentioning that there in these readings, we always should also remember too that our Gurudev is number one to hear the instruction from, and what he told us in particular about something too.
Yeah, no, Gurudev's Harikatha was always very specific audience. His Harikatha would be very different in Mathura Keshaji Gaudiya than it would be in some place out in the West, or like every place he would give a different kind of Harikatha according to the audience.
Yeah. One time I followed my Guru Mahārāja, Śrīla Prabhupada, all the way from, I think it was, 74, was Ratha Yatra, and we were staying, we were living in San Diego, and so I had the occasion to hear his lectures in San Francisco, again in Los Angeles, and went on to San Diego, and it was a mixed audience, because it was Ratha Yatra time, so it's like not just devotees, but there were people in general. But he only spoke about you're not the body. In so many different ways, examples of that. It was about Ratha Yatra and like that. It was you're not the body. Like focus very heavily on that.
Yes. Our acharyas are the ultimate doctors. I like that example that you gave.
Yes, they are. They have several PhDs in medicine. They experience, and because they're in line, and they have followed their acharya, their gurus, so well, that makes them very, then have their summa cum laude or their valedictorians, no spiritual life.
Jai Ho. Okay, I have in 2 minutes I have another meeting I need to go to 9 o'clock, so we'll end here, but thank you for that wonderful little discussion at the end, and yeah, thank you Kishore Prabhu, Hari Hari Prabhu, everybody here, Satya Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook. Too many people, I'm not going to mention everybody's name right now, but I'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully. Hari Hari Bol.